The societal emphasis on constant productivity and achievement can push people to seek immediate relief, leading some of us to adopt unhealthy coping mechanisms as a quick fix. In the fast paced, ever evolving world we live in, stress has become an unwelcome companion for many of us, from the demands of work to the challenges in our personal life. Stress seems to lurk around every corner. But what exactly is stress? And why is it so prevalent in our modern society? Stress isn't just a fleeting inconvenience. It is a shared experience that transcends borders and backgrounds. Anyone can be affected by it. It affects us mentally, physically, and emotionally. But here's the thing. Stress in moderation is a natural part of life. It is how we respond to it that truly matters. And that brings us to the heart of today's conversation, the importance of understanding coping mechanisms. As stress becomes a constant companion, how we cope with it becomes paramount to our well-being. Whether it is the pressures of a hectic schedule, personal conflicts, or unforeseen challenges, the way we navigate stress can profoundly impact our life. In today's episode, we are going to unravel the reasons behind why some of us often turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Stress, in its essence, is a natural and inevitable part of the human experience. It is the body's way of responding to any demand or threat. Now, these demands or threats can come in many forms, and stress doesn't discriminate. It could be the pressure of looming deadlines at work, the strains of personal relationships, or even the constant influx of information in our fast-paced world. There's acute stress, the short-term and immediate response to a specific event. Picture the adrenaline rush before a presentation or the rapid heartbeat during a near-miss accident. Then there's chronic stress, the prolonged exposure to stresses like ongoing work pressures or persistent financial difficulties. But stress isn't just limited to external factors. It can manifest internally as well, through self-imposed expectations, fears, and uncertainties about the future. The emotional toll of stress is vast, ranging from anxiety and frustration to sadness and anger. Physiological-wise, our bodies react to stress by releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, preparing us for a fight or flight response. These ancient survival mechanisms serve our ancestors well, but in today's complex world, it can sometimes lead to health issues if not managed properly. So when we talk about stress, we are not just talking about one specific feeling or situation. It is a complex experience that affects us mentally, emotionally, and physically. Now that we have a foundational understanding of stress, let's explore why individuals may turn to various coping mechanisms when faced with these challenges. Every day, we are dealing with challenges that seem to creep into both our personal and professional life. Identifying these stresses is the first step in understanding why some of us turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. So, let's explore the common stresses that many individuals grapple with. Personal stresses often originate from our day-to-day life, influencing our emotional well-being and mental health. Relationship issues, arguments with loved ones, family tensions, or even the strain of maintaining social connections can be major stress triggers. Work-related stress is another common personal stressor. Balancing deadlines, navigating office dynamics, and coping with career uncertainty can certainly take a toll. Transitioning into professional stresses, the demands of the workplace play a significant role. Job pressures, tight schedules, and the constant pursuit of career goals can become overwhelming. Financial stress is an ever-present factor, affecting both personal and professional life. From managing bills to planning for the future, the financial burden can contribute to elevated stress levels. It is worth noting that personal and professional stresses often intersect. For example, a demanding job can spill over into personal life, affecting relationships and overall well-being. And vice versa, personal challenges can make it difficult to focus and perform effectively in the workplace. striking a balance becomes challenging. With the constant connectivity brought about by technology, we also face a unique set of stressors: the pressure to always be reachable, the influx of information, and the struggle to find moments of genuine disconnection can contribute to stress. As we navigate through our personal and professional fears, it is essential to recognize and address these common stresses. Understanding their impact can shed light on why individuals might turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms in their quest for relief. So, why do we need coping mechanisms? Why are they important? It is inherent in our human nature to respond to stress. When faced with challenges, our bodies activate the stress response, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This physiological reaction is hardwired into our biology, a survival mechanism that enabled our ancestors to confront immediate threats. In today's fast-paced world, our stressors have evolved beyond immediate physical dangers. Work pressures, relationship issues, financial concerns. These are the modern stressors that trigger our innate stress response. Coping mechanisms become the tools we use to adapt to these challenges and navigate the complexity of life. Coping mechanisms are necessities for maintaining our mental well-being. Imagine trying to navigate a turbulent sea without any tools or strategies. Coping mechanisms are like our life raft, helping us stay afloat when the wave of stress threatens to overwhelm us. They play a crucial role in emotional regulation. They allow us to process and manage our emotions in a healthy way, preventing them from accumulating and reaching a breaking point. Without effective coping strategies, the emotional burden can become too heavy to bear. Coping mechanisms also contribute to the development of resilience. They empower us to bounce back from setbacks, learn from challenges, and grow stronger in the face of adversity. Resilience is like a muscle. It needs regular exercise to become robust, and coping mechanisms provide the workout our emotional resilience requires. Now, coping with stress is a natural part of being human. We all develop ways to navigate life challenges. However, not all coping mechanisms are created equal. Some contribute to our well-being, while others may inadvertently harm us in the long run. It is crucial to understand why certain coping mechanisms can be detrimental. Oftentimes, it is a result of seeking quick relief or distraction without considering the long-term consequences. There's a difference between healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Healthy coping involves strategies that promote well-being, resilience, and personal growth. These may include seeking support, practicing mindfulness, and engaging in activities that bring joy. On the flip side, unhealthy coping mechanisms are those that provide temporary relief but can have detrimental consequences over time. These might include substance abuse, overeating, or withdrawing from social connections. Unhealthy coping mechanisms can be an attempt to escape or numb overwhelming emotions. They provide temporary relief but don't address the root causes of stress. Over time, these habits can lead to more significant mental and physical health issues. What's interesting is that some coping strategies start off as adaptive responses to stress. In the initial stages, they might help individuals manage difficult situations effectively. However, over time, these same strategies can morph into unhealthy patterns, creating a cycle that is hard to break. Let's take an example to illustrate this point. A person may turn to occasional overeating as a way to cope with stress. Initially, it might seem harmless, providing comfort and distraction. However, if this behavior becomes a habitual response, it can lead to various health issues and ultimately exacerbate rather than alleviate stress. It is crucial to be aware of this evolution and understand when a once adaptive coping mechanism starts crossing into the unhealthy territory. The line between healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms is not always black and white. What might begin as a reasonable response to stress can over time transform into something that undermines our well-being. Let's explore some common unhealthy coping mechanisms people often turn to, such as excessive alcohol consumption, overeating, or relying on substances. We will discuss the reasons behind these choices and their impact on overall well-being. One prevalent way individuals attempt to escape from stress is through substance abuse. Whether it is alcohol, drugs, or other addictive substances, the allure lies in the temporary numbing of emotional pain. However, the consequences of this coping mechanism often extend far beyond the initial escape. Another common response to stress is overeating. The act of consuming large quantities of food can act as a distraction or the source of comfort. These coping strategies can lead to various health issues, creating a cycle where the initial stressor compounds with additional concerns about physical well-being. Perhaps one of the most concerning and visible manifestations of distress is self-harm. This can take various forms, from cutting to other forms of intentional injury. While it may serve as a way to regain a sense of control, it is crucial to recognize the immense risks associated with self-harm and the need for professional intervention. Lastly, avoidance is a coping mechanism that often goes unnoticed. It involves steering clear of stresses altogether, creating a temporary illusion of control. However, this avoidance can hinder personal and professional growth, perpetuating a cycle of anxiety and fear. What ties this example together is a desperate search for relief from stress, an attempt to find solace in the midst of overwhelming emotions. Yet, these coping mechanisms, while providing momentary escape, fail to address the root causes of stress, and in turn, can exacerbate the very issues they aim to alleviate. Why people resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms? One significant psychological factor is the absence or underdevelopment of coping skills. Life throws challenges at us, and having the right tools to navigate through them is essential. Individuals who haven't learned effective coping mechanisms may resort to unhealthy alternatives in an attempt to cope with stress. It is like being handed a complex puzzle without the necessary pieces. Without adequate coping skills, individuals may feel overwhelmed and turn to more immediate, albeit harmful, ways of coping. Another psychological factor that often comes into play is low self-esteem. When individuals struggle with feelings of inadequacy or lack of self-worth, they might seek solace in destructive coping methods as a way to momentarily escape or numb these negative emotions. For example, some people found themselves turning to unhealthy habits when they doubted their own abilities and constantly compared themselves to others. It was a way to silence the self-critical voice in their head, at least temporarily. Trauma can also cast a long shadow over an individual's life, impacting their mental and emotional well-being. Those with a history of trauma may resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms as a way to cope with the lingering effects of past experiences. Trauma can create a deep sense of distress, and sometimes individuals adopt unhealthy coping mechanisms as a survival strategy. It is important to acknowledge the profound impact trauma can have on one's coping mechanisms. It is crucial to note that these psychological factors often intertwine, creating a complex web of influences on an individual's behavior. For example, a lack of coping skills may contribute to low self-esteem, and both can be exacerbated by a history of trauma. It is not a linear process. These psychological factors often interact in dynamic ways, influencing each other and shaping an individual's response to stress. Understanding the psychological factors at play is an essential step towards promoting healthier coping mechanisms. Next, social and environmental influences. Social and environmental factors also play a role. Pressures from work, societal expectations, and personal relationships can contribute to the adoption of unhealthy coping habits. Society exerts a significant force on our life. The constant pressure to conform to societal expectations, whether in terms of success, appearance, or lifestyle, can create an environment where stress becomes almost inevitable. Culture, too, plays a pivotal role. Cultural norms and stigma surrounding mental health can influence how individuals perceive and deal with stress. In some cultures, seeking help for mental health challenges may be stigmatized, pushing individuals towards secretive and potentially harmful coping methods. It is essential to recognize the impact of cultural attitudes on the willingness to embrace healthier coping strategies. Breaking down these barriers is crucial for fostering a more supportive environment. The media, including television, movies, and social media, can shape our perception of stress and how we should handle it. The portrayal of certain coping mechanisms as glamorous or effective can lead individuals to emulate these behaviors without considering the potential consequences. And the constant bombardment of idealized lifestyles can contribute to the feelings of inadequacy, prompting people to resort to quick fixes that may be detrimental in the long run. And let's not forget the power of peer influence. Friends and social circles can promote certain coping mechanisms, creating a sense of normalcy around behaviors that might be harmful. Accessibility and availability are key influences in the adoption of stress coping mechanisms. When we talk about accessibility, we are referring to how easily individuals can access a particular coping mechanisms. These could range from the physical availability of substance to the ease of engaging in certain activities. The more accessible and readily available a coping method is, the more likely individuals are to turn to it in times of stress. It is a matter of convenience and immediacy. Imagine having a quick and easy solution at arm's reach when the pressure of life becomes overwhelming. Let's take substance abuse as an example. In many communities, alcohol or other substances might be easily accessible. The ubiquity of these substances, combined with the desire for a quick escape from stress, can lead individuals down a path of unhealthy coping. In today's digital age, the accessibility of certain coping mechanisms has expanded. Social media, for instance, can be a double-edged sword. While it connects people, it can provide an escape from reality. The constant availability of these platforms can become an addictive coping mechanism. By addressing the availability of unhealthy coping methods and promoting access to healthier alternatives, we can work towards creating environments that foster positive well-being. Let's talk about the negative consequences that arise when individuals turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. One of the most immediate and profound impacts is on mental health. One significant consequence is the exacerbation of anxiety and depression. Unhealthy coping mechanisms may offer momentary escape, but in the long run, they can intensify existing mental health challenges. Substance abuse, for instance, might provide a brief sense of relief, but the aftermath can deepen feelings of despair. The cycle of unhealthy coping can lead to a sense of helplessness and guilt. Individuals may find themselves trapped in a loop where the very action they turn to for comfort end up feeling a downward spiral of negative emotions. It's essential to recognize that the impact extends beyond the individual to affect relationship and daily functioning. Unhealthy coping mechanisms can strain personal and professional connections, isolating individuals when support is needed most. Besides that, the strain from unhealthy coping can manifest in various health issues, further complicating the overall well-being of an individual. Mental health struggles are complex, and individuals often turn to these coping mechanisms as a means of survival, even if they are ultimately detrimental. Now that we have explored the various reasons why people may turn to unhealthy stress coping mechanisms, it is time to discuss how to break the cycle and embrace healthier alternatives. Breaking free from these patterns often requires a conscious effort and a commitment to one's well-being. Recognizing these habits and finding healthier alternatives, whether it is seeking professional help, building a support system, or adopting stress-reducing activities, there are ways to shift towards more positive coping strategies. Recognizing that there are alternatives is a crucial step in itself. Instead of relying on destructive coping mechanisms, we can explore positive outlets for stress relief. This could include activities like mindfulness and meditation, engaging in hobbies, or incorporating regular exercise into daily routine. These healthier alternatives not only provide a constructive way to manage stress, but also contribute to long-term well-being. breaking the cycle may require more than just self-help strategies. Seeking professional help is a powerful and courageous step towards healing. Mental health professionals such as therapists or counselors can provide valuable insights, coping skills, and a supportive space to address the underlying issues contributing to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Building a strong support network is another key aspect of breaking the cycle. Connecting with friends, family, or support groups can offer understanding, empathy, and encouragement. Sharing experiences with others who may have faced similar challenges can create a sense of community and reduce the isolation that often accompanies stress. Breaking the cycle of unhealthy coping mechanism is a journey that requires self-reflection, commitment, and a willingness to explore healthier alternatives, whether it is adopting positive habits or reaching out for professional support and building a strong network. Every step taken towards well-being is a step in the right direction. Before we wrap up this episode today, let's take a moment to reflect your coping mechanisms. Are they healthy or unhealthy? We all face stress, but the choice we make in response can shape our well-being. Understanding the reasons behind unhealthy coping mechanisms is a first step toward building a healthier, more resilient mindset. If you find this episode helpful, don't forget to share it to the people around you. This is Ping, your health psychologist. I will see you on the next episode. Till then, take care of your body and mind.